Mm-hmm.
Hey everybody, Jeff here again. Welcome back to the channel. Today we have another great video for you. And I know why you're here. You're here because your front door is doing this. It's stuck. It's out of alignment and it's stuck. So today we're going to show you how to root cause this kind of problem when your front door is stuck and it's not moving. It's frozen in place. And we're going to show you how to fix it, and we'll be done in a jiffy. It's a very simple repair. So let's get started.
You want this alright? Well, this alright. Too good to be true. You want this alright? Well, this alright. Too good to be true. Gonna make you feel good. Gonna make you feel good.
Okay, so right off the bat, if you're looking at the door when it's closed here, you see that thin line there? That reveal line is too thin. It's supposed to be about 1/8 of an inch on a properly centered door. So if you look at the top of the door, that's more of the space that you're looking for. And when you look at the upper right hand of the door, the hinge there, it's okay. It could probably come in a little bit to the right here, closer to the frame. But look, as you go down to the bottom, it gets closer and closer and closer and closer, all the way so that it's almost touching down there, see? And that's the problem. So this door is out of square. It just needs to, the whole door needs to rotate a little bit like this. And that usually just means the problem is in your upper hinge. And likewise, it's also scraping this side of the stationary door, because that door, look at that giant gap there. He's leaning too far this way. So he also needs to get tightened in this way. Because look at his reveal line. It's coming down and down and down and getting a lot closer to where it should be as you go down to the bottom here. So both doors here need a slight adjustment, and that's what we're going to do today. Okay, we try the simple fixes first. You can see these two screws are already loose and they're kind of popped out a little. They shouldn't be like that. But look at this as we move the door. Look at that hinge. See how it's moving like that? See that movement? Look at that bottom screw moving. It should not be doing that. So first thing we're going to do is tighten all the screws and make sure they look good. Oops, sorry. Tight. This one's tight. Alright, so the top and that bottom one there aren't going to tighten because they were put in with a plastic anchor. So I guess a repair may have been made at some point in the past and the screws weren't holding, so they tried putting in plastic anchor. Alright, so here's the door. We're testing it now here, see? And now it closes. It's not quite at the distance we want it to be, but at least it's closing without scraping against here. So you can see that just doing that simple screwing in and tightening the screws on the hinges alone on this right door, the right side door here, that was enough to at least get it so that now the door closes smoothly without any issues whatsoever. See that? But we still want to make it perfect because this could still come back out of alignment. So now we're going to work on this side of the door. Here is that where the hinge would anchor into the wall here. This is not concrete block. This looks like it might be, you know, this is over here, but I think the concrete block ends over here, and this is just a wood box out. And so what makes this different is we won't be using the blue Tapcons going into concrete because this is all wood here. All right, so we'll put a link down in the description below to our other video where we did these French doors. Very similar action here where we had to fix the reveal going around the door here. And on that particular video there, we used blue Tapcons that went straight through, 4-inch screws that we used to go through the jamb of the door and past the buck plate that's inside the wall here and all the way through into the concrete wall on that set of French doors. So you'll enjoy that video too. So here we're probably going to just be using our 2-inch deckmate screws. Okay, so these are the screws we're going to put back in because the screws that were in there are usually 1/2-inch screws on those hinges. So I'm using these 2-inch, these are deckmate, and I love these. These are coated and they have a star drive, which I prefer over Phillips head. I can't stand Phillips head because they always strip out on you. And it comes with the star bit here. So these will never ever strip out on you when you're trying to run these screws in. So these are a little thicker than the screws we're pulling out, and you can see they're kind of self-tapping. And we'll run these in and see how well it does. Okay, so we're just chiseling out about a 1/16 of an inch, no more. Okay, so there's our 4 deckmate screws are in there now. It's part of this front door repair. So in the end, this is really all we had to do on this particular side here, was to just add 4 brand new of these 2-inch deckmate screws here. And the reason why we like to use these is, because they're coated and they're made for being used outside on decks, and of course the star bit here. But so this was enough to push this guy in far enough. After we chiseled it, we also made this mortise a little deeper, so that enables this part of this door to go over a little bit to open up the space some. And all we did with the rest of these, we didn't change the screws any. All we had to do was tighten them down. So I'm a fan of not changing any of the other screws unless they really have to be, unless there was something really loose here or on the door, but everything's fine. And looked like the only problem was this one here, like the mortise was originally just not made deep enough. Now let's test our door. So you can see we have a marked improvement there up on the top. We have a nice even 1/8 of an inch reveal. That looks pretty even most of the way down the front door here. So it looks like this repair is done. So now as we scan the reveal line all the way around the door, it looks nice and even now here. And going across the top, it looks even. And coming down the space between the 2 doors, it looks nice and even there as well. And that's the way it should look. That's why it's so important to have your doors nice and square, plumb. Everything has to be perfect. Because these reveal lines, as you look here, you can see, they're only 1/8 of an inch or so. So you don't have much room to play with. If you have something that's a 1/16 of an inch off somewhere, then it's really going to be off someplace else too. So that's why it's so important that this is your goal, is to get these reveal lines even. And a lot of times your root cause is going to end up being because the hinges aren't in all the way, or the mortise wasn't cut deep enough for the hinge, and something is keeping the doors from being attached all the way properly.